Hey everybody, it's the Beardy back with the Beardy and the Baldy channel, bringing you my next weekly update of Beardy's books, my rundown of comics this week that I've gotten. Special treat this week, I've got a whole bunch of books that I read through that were not on my pull list that I wanted to example. A lot of cool new things to check out. So I thought I'd do something a little bit different and show off some things that I'm not reading. I have read these issues, but they're not on my pull list, but I thought I'd give them a try and let you guys know what else is out there instead of just constantly running through my always the same books I get all the time. I will show you those as well. I didn't get to read everything yet, but I'll start off with the new stuff today that are not on my pull list. So up first, and these aren't really in any specific order. The two of my favorite ones are going to be at the bottom, but the rest of them are just kind of mixed up. So yeah. All right, first up, from Titan Comics, a new series called Hard Case Crime, or I guess that's their kind of branding on the type of comic. Triggerman. This was pretty interesting. I really enjoyed the artwork in it. It was really good. It's set in the 30s. I mean, it's got some really incredible artwork in here. It gave me a vibe of a Bruce Willis movie, Last Man Standing. So yeah, just really good artwork. I mean, check these pages out. I mean, it's really good. I really enjoyed the artwork. It definitely gives you that vibe and feel of the 30s. You know, it's a crime comic. Guy comes into town, shoots some people up. You know, you're kind of like gangland kind of comic. But it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So check that out. Triggerman. There's a couple different covers. So if you don't see that one, there's several different covers for that issue. Next up from Dynamite is a new kung fu action series called Intertwined. That's out on the shelves today as well. It's pretty cool. It's got this. I don't really know how to explain this. It's set in the 70s. And it's kung fu in action, but there's like this supernatural element too that they've hinted at in here that didn't get fully explained. So it was definitely an interesting thing. It's this kid, young man who's starts off with his father's funeral and some different things leading up to his father's funeral, and he's supposed to go to New York to meet his uncle over an inheritance or something, and so anyway, it's this, and he's wanting to do this competition, and then there's like some Yakuza or gangland stuff, and it's got an interesting twist at the end. So Intertwined, check that out if you like, you know, Bruce Lee movies, kung fu movies from back in the day. It's definitely got a little bit of a, not Daredevil so much as the crime fighter vibe to it, but we'll see where it goes. So that was pretty cool. All right, another one from a new number one from Image. I really got to say, I love the design on this cover. This is really different. I like it. Cannibal. Not necessarily a huge fan of books where people are eating people, but this is, you know, it's this family. Where are they? Where's it set? Southern Florida, somewhere in Florida. So it's just kind of got, you know, this kind of rural swamp setting, and someone just shows up and eats somebody on the dock of a restaurant. And so it's kind of like a crime murder scene, and it's not really zombies. And then it's everybody going after them, and there's a little tension, there's a little romance. Cannibal. It's an intense, and the artwork's pretty good. It definitely has, again, like some of these other books, it definitely gives off the vibe of if it were a movie, you know, how it would be lit or how it would feel, or even a TV series or something. So Cannibal, new number one from Image. Another number one from Image, no, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Brian Azzarello's Moonshine. Again, we're kind of another one. We're going back in time here. I think this one is... So this one's in the 20s. So this one take place a couple years before Triggerman. Different universe, I'm sure. But you know, it's a guy going down to Virginia to pick up some moonshine from some folk up in the mountains in Appalachia, for his you know, his boss up in the city in New York. was pretty good. Pretty decent art in there as well. Again, gives a really good vibe for the atmosphere. So there's that. Moonshine. Up next is Shipwreck from Warren Ellis and Phil Hester. This is from Aftershock Comics. #1 out on the shelves today. This is crazy. This is a crazy book. It is not what I expected from the Shipwreck. It's not a guy who washes up on the shore of an island. It seems like there's some sort of space travel and perhaps alien technology or something at work here. And it's this guy who shows up and he's just trying to figure out what's going on with his life. It's kind of sci-fi, but there's a lot of psychological stuff going on in here as well. Pretty intense, not for the faint of heart. I'll show you this page. There's a lot of imagery of birds and spiders so far in this first issue, but it's really cool. So check that out. Shipwreck, Warren Ellis. And next up, some childhood favorites are coming together. He-Man and Thundercats for a mini-series. This was pretty cool. Enjoyed the art. It's kind of got the looser, sketchy, unpenciled inks vibe going to it. I don't know if it was inked or not. I didn't look at all the artist details, but like here's some of the artwork inside. It's pretty cool, really colorful. It definitely feels like a modern adaptation of the cartoons from when I was a kid. So He-Man and Thundercats, since a lot of the other Hasbro characters are playing together in IDW's Revolution, it's cool to see these guys getting to hang out. Next up is Green Valley from Max Landis and some other folks. This is really cool. This is a medieval kind of King Arthur-esque warriors fighting off the bad guys, and it's really cool. I really enjoyed the artwork in this. I enjoyed the humor. The dialogue's not necessarily completely appropriate for the time period, but it's kind of a fantasy setting in a way, as it's not necessarily set in the real world. So Green Valley, this was really cool. I will probably actually be adding this to my subscription going forward. I really enjoyed that. Another one I'll probably be adding is Romulus, another new Image #1. This book was pretty cool. If you like, what is it, Lazarus, the story about the different corporations that rule the countries and the world in the future, you might want to check this out. It's again, Romulus is this group, this secret society that has run the world, and they always have their weapons, their assassin, their wolves, which are women. And this follows the story of Ashlar and her mother. Where'd her mom? I can't remember. Her mom's name is Axis. So it's them as she's being raised and trained, and in its current setting. So it's pretty cool. They're pretty action-packed. So if you like stories with a cool, kick-ass action hero female, there you go. Romulus is the book for you. All right, now real quick, I'm going to burn through my actual picks of the week that I've gotten. I've only gotten to read about half of these because I read all of those other ones. So we'll get started with my normal rundown from top to bottom, or bottom to top. First up, Marvel's Death of X. We're finally going to see how all this animosity between the mutants and the Inhumans arose. So this takes place, my understanding is after Secret Wars, but before any of the current Marvel books started in the all-new, all-different universe. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty much what I expected overall, but it was pretty good, and it's definitely going to be the first chapter of like an X-Men Inhumans trilogy of stories. So you got Death of X, which is a 4-issue miniseries. IVX starts in November, December, and I'm not sure how long that is. I think it's 5 issues. And then Resurrection will be coming after that, I think later in the winter, early spring. So if you want to see what's going on with Cyclops, since we haven't seen him post-Secret Wars, this is the first time we get to see him in action before the events of all the all-new Marvel, all different Marvel Universe. Okay. Next, Uncanny X-Men. We saw Exodus came back into play last issue. With Magneto and his confrontation, we see kind of the culmination of Magneto and Psylocke's arguments coming to a head and what they're deciding to do with it. So I'm excited to see where things go after this, because this couple issues were not that interesting to me, but anyway, yeah. All new Wolverine. This was really cool. Enemy of the State starts a new arc where Laura and Gabby go on a road trip, and bad things happen. It's pretty tragic, actually, but it's really cool. Enjoyed it. This is still one of my favorite books every week, but there's a lot of other stuff I really liked more this week. Justice League kicks off a new story. If you feel a little confused coming into this one, that's okay, because I did too. It is part one. All the League members are like afraid at the beginning of this issue. They're fighting something and they're all afraid. And they're able to fight through it, and you think everything's fine, but maybe it's not. And you get to see the new Green Lanterns. Jessica and Simon do some pretty cool stuff in this one, so it'll be really neat to see where that goes. Part of the new Marvel Now, with the Shattered Now logo, is the new Jessica Jones. You know, playing heavily off of the success of the TV show, we're getting this back, and I really liked this. This gets into her investigating some stuff, which, you know, she just thinks it's a crazy woman, but the crazy woman is suggesting things about alternate realities, different worlds. Her husband's not who he was, but he is, but he doesn't think he is. So this is addressing a lot of the effects of Secret Wars, I think. So that'll be really cool to see that play out in a detective story. Alright, now is the part where I didn't get to read. So, Doctor Strange, it's the beginning of a new arc, so that should be pretty interesting now that all of the empirical story is over in the last days of Magic. Green Arrow, looking forward to reading this. I really love this book. Otto Schmidt's back on the art for this one, and I really like his work. So it looks like a cool little adventure with Ollie and Black Canary. And let's see, Superman number 8. Looks like Clark takes Jonathan out for some training. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Another new Marvel number 1, The Champions. So this is the teenage team of heroes that have kind of broken off from the Avengers and other teams and are doing their own thing. And lastly, Aquaman, just because I love this book every time it comes out. Not really sure where this is going, but it's been building towards a lot of cool stuff, including this giant, like, Leviathan monster thing. So anyway, that's it for Beardy's books this week. If I get a chance to come back and finish reviewing all my proper titles, I will. But there it is. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think. Check out some different books. What are you reading? And I'll catch you next time. Peace.